Story 1. I hope they always hit their pinky toe on the corner of the bed just enough to hurt but never enough to break. Story 2. A small piece of a popcorn kernel stuck between their gum and a tooth. Painless but extremely annoying. Story 3. That no one ever hears them the first time they say something, so they always have to repeat everything they ever say. Story 4. Their waste is invisible, so they cannot tell how clean they have wiped just by looking at the toilet paper. Story 5. I hope everything they say, no matter how innocent, will be misconstrued for the worst. I'm tired today becomes interpreted as I'm an insomniac. I need a drink. I'm thirsty becomes interpreted as I'm an alcoholic. I was digging in my garden becomes interpreted as what's hiding in their garden. Story 6. He chokes on a Big Mac while trying to sign a document that would harm a marginalized group of people. Story 7. I hope everything goes well in their lives that they begin to question it. Slowly, they may fall into a state of madness. Story 8. The scissors are never where you left them. It doesn't matter where you put them or how long ago. Once they leave your sight, they could be anywhere. Story 9. When they are walking out of the door and something gets stuck on the door handle. Nothing makes me angrier than something that foolish happening to me. Story 10. Holding the door for what you thought was just one person to be nice, but then a large group of people enters and exits while you still hold the door with no one thanking you. Story 11. 500 extra keys are inexplicably added to their key ring, so it takes them a solid 30 minutes to get into their home. Story 12. Fresh clean sock straight into a puddle of juice or Coke. Something sticky so she can't just toss it in the dryer. Story 13. I hope Patrick Dumont and Nico Harrison are always chosen for random bag searches at the airport for the rest of their lives. I also hope they bite the inside of their cheek on the first bite of food and that it turns into an annoying cold sore in their mouth, repeating forever. Story 14. That every minor but essential household item will run out just before it is needed. Toilet paper, hand soap, paper towels, laundry detergent, shampoo, conditioner, and so on. Story 15. That their thermostat is too cold or too hot. That they can only find AA batteries when they need AA batteries, and AA batteries when they need AA batteries. That there is always something rattling in their car and they cannot figure out what it is. That their neighbor's dog barks 20 minutes before their alarm clock every day, no matter what time it is set to. That their phone always shows full signal but it is stuck loading. That they always hit a yellow light at any intersection with a red light camera. That their order is always just a little wrong at the drive-thru. That they always put just a little too much sugar in their coffee. That the television volume is only the right volume at an odd number. Story 16. To be permanently ejected from the White House. What? It is harmless to him. He might have a bruised ego for a while, but it is better for the rest of us. Story 17. I don't have enemies, but I do wish every supporter of Donald Trump to forever have a small hole on the front of their socks through which their second toe neither stays completely within nor outside of. Story 18. They can feel a single hair tickling inside their ear, and no amount of hair rearranging or digging around in their ear will make it stop. Story 19. Losing the remote is just out of reach, and then the batteries are dying but not completely dead, so they have to hit it. Story 20. My ex had slight obsessive-compulsive disorder tendencies about the level of the volume on the television or radio. It always had to be an even number or a multiple of 5. If the volume was at 13, he would get anxious until he was able to get to the remote and change it to one of his preferred integers. To this day, I keep the volume at levels that would drive him insane. It started as petty revenge and turned into a habit of my own. I wish that kind of anxiety on him right now. Story 21. 7 daily paper cuts. Between the finger webbing, under the fingernails, and on the knuckles. Maybe 1 or 2 on the eyelids for fun. Story 22. I hope the inside of their genitals and rear end itches like a fresh mosquito bite. The whole inside. For an entire day. Story 23. Banging their elbow on something, and then banging it again on something else before it fully stops hurting. Story 24. You know when you are putting in or taking out a screw and the bit jumps out of the screw head. That happens. No matter the style, whether it is Robertson, Phillips, slotted, or Torx, it happens to them every single time. Story 25. I hope that one blanket is too cold and two blankets are too hot for them, no matter the room temperature. Story 26. This actually happened. My ex and I divorced. I had always been the one to handle the car maintenance. A few months before the split, I had new tires put on his car. The vehicle had those will lock lug nuts that require a special key that came with the vehicle. I don't know if the service technician didn't put the key back in the car or what, but over a year later I received a text from my ex's assistant, as he and I hadn't spoken since the divorce. She wanted to know if I knew where his will lock key was. I had no clue. Apparently he had a flat, couldn't get the wheel off, and it was going to take a week to get the new key from the dealership. So his car was stuck with a flat for a week. I couldn't have come up with a more annoying revenge on my own. Story 27. Perpetually having plugged ears and having trouble unplugging them. Once unplugged and feeling a moment of freedom, they plug right back up. Story 28. The sound of a mosquito near their ear, which cannot be drowned out, every night for the rest of their life. Story 29. Their faucets always come on too strong when they open them and wet their wrist cuffs and their shirts. Story 30. A hangnail. Not the type you can easily clip off either. The kind that drives you insane because it is that tiny little bit of nail that you cannot get. Story 31. Arriving everywhere 5 minutes late, late to your flight, late to your date, late to every meal, you are always there but always late. Story 32. Every flight of stairs that they go up or down will have one step that is an inch taller than the others. Story 33. They let out a fart every third step they take. The loudness, duration, and smell are completely randomized each time. Story 34. I hope every drop of water they ever drink tastes slightly off, no matter where it is from or the temperature, but no one else can taste it. Story 35. I always wish minor inconveniences on people that annoy me. Like I don't wish them ill, just to be inconvenienced. I wish they would randomly run out of fuel on the way home, step on a Lego, get a wedgie, forget their keys or lock their keys in their car. When it's someone who is driving recklessly, I always wish that once they safely arrive at their destination, their vehicle just never turns on again. Story 36. I hope her dog breaks and chews on her belongings every time she goes to sleep. Have fun waking up to a destroyed, chewed-on nurse's badge and trying to wear it. Story 37. Here is the curse. I hope you drop something and in the process of picking it up, you fumble it 2 more times. I hope you go to turn off a light and miss the switch. I hope that last sip of drink spills onto your chin. I hope your phone dies right as you are about to plug it in. I hope you trip slightly on that last step. I hope you get stuck holding the door for one too many people, and last but not least, I hope that person in front of you at the grocery store decides that today is the day to get that membership card and they take a long time filling that out. Story 38. I really hope you stub your toes, Danny. Then, when the pain starts to go away, you stub them again. But it only happens every other week. To offset the toe stub, your keys magically move to new random inconvenient spots, and you have no idea why you left them there. You'll also have more corrupted save files on your games, so you will have to start over more often, especially when you beat a very hard boss. All in all, screw you, Danny. Story 39. His remote starter on his car quits working, and he has to go down 2 flights of stairs to start the car. Story 40. I hope they misplace their keys and spend 2 hours looking for them, only to find that the keys have been in their pocket the whole time. Story 41. I wish him nothing but peace and happiness and that he finds some normalcy in his life. I wish that for myself as well. Amen, brother. Story 42. A group of people here is learning that they have enemies. I hope that my worst enemy always steps on a Lego. Barefoot? Lego. Shoes? Lego. No feet? Lego in the prosthetic. If they can step on a Lego, they will step on a Lego. Story 43. The assistant manager at work. As in, we have a store manager, 2 assistant managers, and a micromanager. That person. I want every serving of mashed potatoes he eats for the rest of his life to be watery. And for his sandwich filling to always slide out. Story 44. Bad cell service whenever they want to use social media makes it take annoyingly long to load anything. Story 45. that he keeps getting paper cuts on the skin between his thumb and index, or a painful cavity where nothing helps. Story 46. I hope their coffee pot malfunctions, overflowing the filter basket so the carafe has grounds in the coffee and creates a big mess on the counter. Story 47. To have all jobs done perfectly. Every day, the moment he gets out of bed and has nothing else to do for the rest of the day. The guy cannot sit still and has to be doing something at all waking hours, and I know for a fact this would drive him insane. Story 48. That they have a surprise wet fart in the middle of a traffic jam and have to sit in misery until they get home to check if they soiled themselves or not. No stomach issues. No warning. Just the need to break wind and then something questionable happens. I'm also imagining them actually soiling themselves and having to drive home like that, feeling the embarrassment of having soiled themselves on their drive home. Story 49. They just bumped into their hot ex when the convenience store cashier told them their card was declined, and one of those Ben & Jerry's has to go. Story 50. I want her to hear the high-pitched sound of a mosquito in the room that you know is there with you, but you cannot find it. Story 51. From a chain mail of modern-day curses I received in high school. May you step on a Lego every time you get out of bed. May every web page you open load so slowly that you always click on the wrong link and get directed to the wrong site. Story 52. Being unable to find their wallet because it was placed in its proper location right before leaving. Story 53. Whenever they go to a restaurant or fast food establishment, the businesses are out of the food they wanted most. Story 54. For their belt loops, pockets, headphone wires, or whatever else they may have that could get caught on doorknobs. But since it is my worst enemy, all of the above applies to what they have at the time of passing through a door. Story 55. I do not hate anyone or have any enemies, but there are certain people that if I happened to see them burning alive and I needed to urinate, I would hold it. Story 56. A sticky space key. Sometimes it's fine, but there is an equal chance of no spaces or 3. Any keyboard, physical, virtual, all unreliable. And it's him. Information technology can't find any fault. Story 57. That when they drink water out of a cup, little droplets come out of the bottom and get on their clothes. It is not always too noticeable, but it can be uncomfortable. Story 58. 90 seconds after he vigorously shakes his small boy's genitals at the urinal, the last 15/16 of his bladder empties right into his jeans. Story 59. Them ordering their staple favorites at their regular restaurants and none of them hitting the spot. Consecutively for at least 8 to 10 places. Story 60. An eyelash in the corner of the eye that grows in such a way that it repeatedly gets stuck under the eyelid. Story 61. They get every single red light every time they are in a car, regardless of whether they are driving or not. Story 62. That's when they leave from work, their car air conditioning goes out, and then they arrive home. Yep, the house air conditioning is out too. July 30th, 2025. Story 63. Kitchen slugs. I hope they step on a kitchen slug in bare feet, in the dark, at least once every 24 hours for the rest of their cursed existence. Story 64. His phone regularly doesn't charge, and his AirPods stop working right before he has to go to work. This makes him stay at work all day with no phone and no music. He hates it. Oh, and may he also randomly run out of cannabis every time this happens. Diabolical. Story 65. A calf cramp that subsides every 10 minutes and a pins and needles feeling in their legs makes it difficult for them to stand up. Story 66. Constant internet connection problems or maintenance, constant power interruptions, and constant checkups and medication prevent her from getting her job done at the end of the day. She wishes for fewer troubles in her life while dealing with the toxic management of the company. Just like what I have been experiencing, I am still bringing the best results, and with just that tiny problem, they want me gone. That person who wants me gone because she wants to make her sister get hired again after being let go before is very greedy and unfair. Story 67. Pants that are half an inch too long, just long enough so they get caught on their shoes but too short to roll up. Story 68. Oh, I don't know. How about that pop-up advertisement that Jeeps have whenever you stop? That seems pretty inconvenient. Story 69. An itch in the arch of your foot that never goes away. Even if they find the right spot, they cannot itch deep enough to satisfy it. Story 70. Uncomfortable mouth means that no matter what they do, their mouth will be uncomfortable, making it difficult to sleep or do anything because of it. Story 71. I do not think I have an enemy or someone I really dislike, but if I did, I wish that everything that needs to be charged had a really specific angle that the charger needs to be kept at for it to work. Story 72. Their internet never works, whether with Wi-Fi or their own data. No internet, no social media, no work-oriented tasks, nothing online. Story 73. I hope you drink too much coffee before your morning commute, and then something happens that holds up traffic and you have to use the restroom so badly that it hurts. Story 74. Their shoes have sand in them every time they go to put them on, even if they have never been near sand. Story 75. I hope their jack will be completely wet while stranded outside in the snow after the bus dropped them at a random station where no other bus comes for hours. Story 76. They will have a huge, gaseous release every hour. The release is not smelly. It does not cause any pain, but it will be loud, very, very, very loud. Story 77. A dripping tap in the ensuite next to their bedroom drips once every 4 to 5 minutes, so they think it is not, but it is. Story 78. A wet sock is just part of it. Or the sock rolls down into the shoe, and they cannot fix it. Accidentally putting salt instead of sugar in their coffee or tea, and the temperature is either too hot or too cold. Story 79. There is a lot of traffic every time they drive home from work. Every traffic light is red, and they often encounter a garbage truck or some truck on or offloading or reversing on their street, requiring them to wait a little longer before finally getting home. Story 80. Every time they try to buy something, they are 1 cent short. The cashier will not let it slide. There are no pennies available, and nobody around them wants to help. Story 81. Not necessarily minor, but herpes in his eyes. A dentist butchered my teeth. It is common for dentists to get patients' saliva in their eyes, and many can contract sexually transmitted infections like acquired immune deficiency syndrome, herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. Herpes cannot be cured, and in the eyes it can cause blindness and extreme pain. It can spread along the optic nerve into the brain, leading to stroke, dementia, and insanity. Story 82. Something small is in their sock, but nothing comes out when they shake it. It would certainly irritate them when they get to dance practice. Story 83. An eyelash in their eye that they cannot seem to find, no matter how many times you try to wash it out. Story 84. Spilling curry or pasta sauce on every new white shirt they own. An unexpected item in the bagging area alert at every self-checkout, and their pen will always run out of ink halfway through a signature. Story 85. When this identical question was asked last week, I liked the answer, may their sleeve get caught on every door handle. Story 86. My neighbor wakes them up at 5:30 a.m., 6:30 a.m., and 9 a.m. with their stomping. It also returns between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. as well. Sometimes throughout the day, it happens between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. too. Story 87. My evil ex-stepmother has a thing for signature red nails. She gets them done and has a weird method to avoid chipping. But if it were up to me, chipped nail polish. Just get your nails done. Chip within the hour. Fix nails, chips again. Assuming it might be the nail polish, she gets a new bottle of signature color. Chips again. Change top coat. Still chipped. Change to gel. Smudges before getting to ultraviolet light. Smudge is stuck on the nail until changed. Story 88. Oh, just a little knock-knock sound somewhere in their house every hour or so. Make it a little randomized. Also, make it happen in different parts of the house, but fairly close to where the last one happened. So, when he goes to find it, he goes to the spot and then waits for it to happen again, but it will have moved slightly. Have this go for a week. How about that? That might be enough to drive him mad. Story 89. That no matter what it is, when they go to get it and they are 10 steps away, they forget, go back, and remember, resulting in an endless time-wasting cycle. Story 90. No clean spoons or bowls when they need one. Dead batteries in every remote. Oil spots on all their clothing. Story 91. An entire column of dead pixels on their phone that is slightly off-center from the middle of the screen. Story 92. The male members, I hope the underwear they are currently wearing develops a misaligned flap in the front so their penis constantly pops out of it while they are walking and gets caught in a bind. For the female enemies, I hope they develop a really bad shaping spot right next to their labia. Story 93. They are a recluse who rarely leaves the house. They hope the power goes out randomly for at least a couple of hours every day, but only when they are awake. Story 94. They live on the top floor of their building, and the elevator systematically stops at every floor. Story 95. Every time they look in the mirror, a booger is hanging out of their nose, and they are the only ones who can see it. Story 96. Their satellite navigation system talks over the top of their audiobook and won't rewind quite far enough to hear it again. Story 97. I hope everyone he meets from now on is just like himself in personality, preferences, and judgments. By judgments, I mean self-righteousness and a superiority complex. Story 98. Having your video editing software updated and they change a few little things, you can't tell if you are doing something wrong or if they changed something. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.